Welcome to Talking Giants, presented by SeatGeek. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, here with my co-host, Justin Pennick, and we got ourselves our first Eagles preview of the year. Woohoo! Gonna be fun. The Eagles on a 3-game losing streak. Will the Giants continue it? A Monday afternoon game. Justin, how you doing, my man?
A Monday afternoon game, just any other Monday. Settle down on your couch at 4:30 and watch some New York Giants football. Yeah! Woo! Against the Eagles, where we haven't beat them since Vietnam.
Wes Locke shared some facts. Joe Judge was the best coach versus the Eagles since Tom Coughlin. He had 3 wins against him.
That stupid drop against the Eagles were angry. That was the game. That was the game.
He went 2-2 versus the Eagles. Should have went 3-1. The other game he had, Jake Fromm at starting at quarterback. Yeah, this Eagles team, obviously they're reeling a little bit, man, but so Justin, if the Giants had beat the Saints, which was very capable of doing, right? The Saints aren't a very good team. They just beat the Packers the week before. The Giants would be on a 4-game winning streak. The conversations around the Giants would be a little more different in the here and now, not so much big picture wise. And then the Eagles coming off a 3-game losing streak. People would be talking about this Eagles team as vulnerable. 3-game losing streak. Defensive metrics are horrible. And I would not have, Justin. I think this defense is, versus the New York Giants, capable of being deadly. Just as deadly as they were last year, right? Maybe a little less so. But this pass rush to me is just as deadly as it was last year. They're just not creating as many sacks as they were. Maybe because they haven't played the Giants twice, to be honest. Maybe they'll get back up in those categories.
Remember that was the thing for the first month of the season, is that every team that was leading the league in sacks and pressures at one point played the Giants. Yeah,
that makes sense. Justin, today's episode was brought to you by some special people. Christopher Robin.
Oh.
Eeyore.
Yeah.
Now, remember when we first started doing Patreon, sometimes we wouldn't get new Patreons, we'd have to create fake names.
You would create fake names, yes.
Yeah, and we started just doing celebrities. I'm like, that's weird. That's what I just did. But we did hit 800, but we don't have any new ones. So, no patreon.com/Talking Giants. We're not going to tell you how it's $2 a month, how you do shirt raffles, live streams. So we don't have any new Patreons, so we can't tell you about all that stuff.
Appreciate Chris Robin.
Christopher Robin, Eeyore, and Winnie the Pooh.
But here's my thing with this matchup this week, and then we'll get to offense, defense, whatever. You're going to break down schematics. The JM football, the football today, and the power rankings conversation that you have on the Eagles right now is very different from the conversation that we're having on the Giants playing the Eagles, where it's this Eagles secondary is in trouble. It's James Bradbury and Sidney Brown, that final drive got torched by Drew Lock this past weekend. That's bad. That's bad. Their secondary, that was a real big advantage last year, is not an advantage this year. And Darius Slay may even be out, this weekend for the Eagles. And then even their offense, I'm going to ask you, and maybe do you want to start off with the Giants offense or the Giants defense?
I was hoping to do the Giants defense.
All right, then I'm going to ask you this. With Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense, my biggest critique right now is, where the hell is their quick game? It just feels like there's no quick game in that offense. It's either throw it deep to A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts run, and he's not even fully healthy right now. It just feels like that offense or defense doesn't have a very, very good identity right now for a team that is super ultra talented. So we'll start off with the Eagles offense. Bobby, where the hell is this Eagles quick passing game? Because I think it's non-existent.
It's really not there. The Eagles offense is still a good offense in the NFL. But last year, what was so frustrating about the Eagles is just they had options. No matter what you did defensively, they had options, right? And that's why they were able to put up so many points in essentially every single game that they played with Jalen Hurts at quarterback, and Jalen Hurts had a mastery of it. Last year, you want to make sure Devontae Smith doesn't beat you on some quick game, smooth routes. Well, that's when they're going to take their shots to A.J. Brown. And then when you want to make sure you're not going to, you're going to stop A.J. Brown, which would happen more times, you would go to Devontae Smith. Last year, Devontae Smith had more catches than A.J. Brown, and A.J. Brown had only 9 more targets. This year, it's just become much more of an A.J. Brown offense, and they're just looking to push the envelope. And, hey, even though it's just, obviously Devontae Smith is still number 2 in this offense, but he's being used more down the field than he is as just like a quick route runner in the short to intermediate game. Like, he has a higher average depth of target than A.J. Brown does. And in 2022, his was 3 yards less than A.J. Brown, which is very significant. That's the difference between Darius Slayton and, Isaiah Hodgins last year. So they're just pushing the envelope as an offense, looking to create explosives. Brown has 39 more targets than Smith, 21 more catches. They have no slot wide receiver presence, which happens with it, right? So, their other wide receivers combined for 21 catches, and that includes Julio Jones. They are just looking to push the ball downfield consistently. It's like, I want to throw go balls to A.J. Brown, run one dagger, and get the deep dig routes. They're just looking to create explosives, and they have done it, right? A.J. Brown's been great. Like, A.J. Brown is probably more their quick game than Devontae Smith is right now, because he gets some of those coverages. But in turn, it's Jalen Hurts is less efficient, and he's turning over the ball fairly frequently. Like, most deep interceptions, fourth most in the NFL. And last year, he was second best in the NFL in turnover rate, only behind Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I mean, A.J. Brown's having a phenomenal year, and I think if it weren't for the first few games of the season, remember there was a little bit of like turmoil, and A.J. Brown was like, I want the ball more, and then he's gotten the ball, and then he's gone on this, insane ultra run where, it's closer to Tyreek Hill than some people think. And if it weren't for that slower start to the season, maybe A.J. Brown is on a similar pace to Tyreek Hill, which, it's crazy when you kind of look at those numbers.
He was on pace to beat Calvin Johnson's record at one point this year, like 8 games into the year.
It was crazy, but then they start playing some better teams. I mean, they've had a gauntlet. They've had a gauntlet of a schedule over the last 6 weeks, and they've lost their last 3. But they beat the Bills, who are a good team. They beat the Cowboys, a couple weeks ago as well. So my thing too with Jalen Hurts is he's kind of reverting back to 2021 habits of what was one of the main things that we said after his 2021 season, and we were unsure about him in 2022. He couldn't handle pressure. And I think we're starting to see that again in 2023, where Jalen Hurts is not throwing very well under pressure.
Yeah, the offensive line is still one of the best, but it's a little more leaky. And then you've seen the times now. Lane Johnson's healthy for this game. Mailata's healthy. Mailata's playing better than he was last year, and Kelsey obviously is too. But even like Lane Johnson, I think he went 2 years without giving up a sack. This year he's given up 3. And you've seen when Lane Johnson went down. I mean, they lost to the Jets. For at one point they were 10-1. Their only loss of the year was due solely to Lane Johnson being injured.
Yeah.
Like, every bad play that happened on offense was due to a pressure from Jack Driscoll, who's their swing tackle over there. So that being said, I don't see us getting pressure on him.
No.
Unless we do all-out blitzes, and they're going to kill that if we do that. Like, that's that's not the way to attack A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, the way that they've been pushing the ball down the field. You're going to give up a ton of explosives if you operate where you're like, and I'm not talking about like 5-man like blitz to safety. Like, I think the only way that this team's going to get pressure on them is if they like run cover 0 blitzes. I don't think your normal blitzes are going to get home on this team unless honestly Kayvon, we're very happy with how his second year has developed, unless Kayvon plays better than he has this year as a whole. Like, for Kayvon would have to like take a step forward in his play for this to be a game where they're going to get pressure.
I want to talk about Kayvon maybe a little bit later. Ooh, spoiler. How did the Giants? I'm going to putting this in quotes because the Giants got their ass kicked by the Eagles. I guess that final week of the season was kind of awesome because it was like a close game.
The Kenny Galladay touchdown.
Yeah. How did the Giants quote unquote attack the Eagles offense last year? Like, what was their approach, and did you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? What would you do differently, or would you do the same?
Well, in the regular season games, they kind of switched their coverages up throughout, right? Like, you remember that just Jalen Hurts was surgical in that game. Then like Wink kind of switched back up to some like his pressure and man because the zone stuff wasn't working, and then they got big plays off of it. And then the Eagles, the final game of the year, which I thought they would do more of in that playoff game, they were just throwing all types of like different shit at them. Like it was like Wink just like, hey, I'm going to throw every coverage I have in my playbook 4 or 5 times. Like every play in my defense is getting ran 4 times in this game, and no more, no less. Which I thought they'd carry some of that over, and they played more of that soft coverages that Wink started playing more at the end of last year. So I mean, I do think the way to go after them is to be aggressive, and then switch up so you have to play not soft, but you have to play deep, right? So I'm not saying you have to play guys 10 yards off, or AJ Brown's going to feast in the underneath game. That will become the quick game. Dallas Goedert will do that. But you can play up and play zone coverages and throw different looks, and you can get some turnovers that way while also mixing up some of your pressure. So like that's my way. Is you got to throw all types of different stuff at them, but playing guys 8 yards off like he did versus the Saints is not going to be the way to do it.
Cordell Flott versus AJ Brown. Remember that was the thing last year where we were like, oh,
he did have some good reps versus AJ Brown.
He did.
It's kind of crazy.
He did. Are we going to see that again?
No, I think. So here you go. Who do you put on AJ Brown? Who do you put on Devontae Smith?
I put Adoree on Devontae, and I put Deonte Banks on AJ Brown.
I think it's going to be the opposite way around, though.
Okay.
Because Adoree is who they had cover AJ Brown last year.
I think. I mean, I'm just thinking of like I think AJ Brown is less likely to beat Deonte Banks at the release versus Devontae Smith is kind of like more of like that crafty guy that he could easily beat him at the release.
But here, AJ Brown, I feel like because AJ Brown's so physical and like a downfield threat, I feel like he gets disrespected and like the other, like he's great in every area of the game.
Yeah, for sure.
So I would and we talk about the catch point. Now Adoree is not necessarily great at the catch point, especially this year. But
AJ Brown's going to have an advantage over like anybody at the catch point.
Yeah,
so.
that's basically what I'm saying. Like our corners, I don't feel good about either one. Adoree's not been good this year.
But hell, come on, Cordell Flott, let's go, do it again. Let me see.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if the Giants, what type of personnel, if they go to like, I could see them trying to throw like Dane Belton out there and run more big nickel because they don't really have a slot wide receiver presence and they're going to want to run the ball. I feel like they're going to want to run the ball a little more in this game because they're playing the Giants. They're not going to feel the need to go crazy. And they become more of a zone rushing team, which I do think is a mistake, especially with Swift as their primary back. But DeAndre Swift's been explosive for them. He still makes bad reads, more often than most backs, but he's been able to be good and efficient behind that offensive line. And Kelsey, if there's one player in the NFL who has, been able to handle Dexter Lawrence, has been Jason Kelsey.
Yeah.
He owned him in all three matchups last year. And Dex is probably going to be on a pitch count if he even does play. Nacho may not play. Quick trivia. Who did the Giants sign a defensive tackle today?
I've been at the warehouse all day.
Timmy Horn. Come on, dude. Falcons practice squad player out of
come on.
Kansas State. He spent 4 years with Charlotte, then transferred to Kansas State with the 2022 undrafted free agent. Played 17 games for the Falcons last year, 5 starts, 31 tackles in 20 career games. So there you go. And Justin, Boston Scott.
Yes, this is a Boston Scott game, and I kind of like that the Eagles have embraced it as well.
Yeah. So here is these. I got some because I did my Boston Scott tweet this week. Let me read it real quick for the people. Where is it? Boston Scott has played in 9 games versus the Giants and 72 games versus other teams in the NFL career. Versus the Giants, 74 yards per game, 11 touchdowns. Versus other teams, which again, it's 72 games, 18 yards per game, and 9 touchdowns. He has scored a touchdown in 9 of 9 games versus the Giants. And so I had some fantasy football betting advice people get in my mentions, Justin. And they're like, yeah, but they're not using Boston Scott this year. And another guy subtweeted me and like, if someone's betting advice to you is that this player has owned this player, that is very silly. It's like you dumbasses don't know. The Eagles know about this. The Eagles forced that. Boston Scott didn't get used a lot in 2021 either, but guess what? They started forcing Boston Scott down our throat in that game to get him the touchdown. And it's probably going to be a blowout. They're probably going to have some goal line stuff in the second half, and they're going to give Boston Scott the ball. So bet Boston Scott touchdown this week. I'd never give betting advice on this show except for twice a year, 3 times if we make the playoffs. Bet Boston Scott touchdown.
If you bet $20 on DraftKings Sportsbook, the odds are plus 320. $20 Boston Scott anytime touchdown scorer, you get $84.
Do you have can you do that for me? Because I'm in Florida.
Yeah.
I'll send you $20 right now.
Okay. I'll put 30 on it.
So you put in 10 for you?
No, we'll put 20 for me, 10 for me.
Okay. I'm going to send you $20 right now.
Huge.
It's plus 320?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Anytime touchdown score is plus 320.
I'm trying to find you on Venmo.
Zelle. Nope, Zelle.
I can't send Zelles. I can only receive Zelles. That's very
Oh,
weird.
no. All right, well, we'll figure it out. Giants offense.
I'm just paying you $20 on Venmo.
Nope. Don't do that.
Oh, you can't even click on your Venmo profile anymore.
No, it's gone. It's gone.
Do you have PayPal?
We had this discussion. No.
Yeah, but I didn't realize. You don't have PayPal?
No, I do not.
What about Cash App?
Nope.
How the hell do you get through life? All right, well, I owe you $20 next time I see you.
You owe me $20, and you want to know
or
what?
You know what? Off the Patreon, which we didn't get any new ones this week, just take $20 off.
Perfect.
Actually, you're gonna have to be sending me money because we're winning this bet. What am I fucking thinking?
Oh, well, you want to know what? You want to know what you owe?
We should just. But can we just do the DraftKings ad now?
Do you want to know what? That's tough for Danny King.
I know. We're squeezing Danny King out. I'm gonna do the DraftKings ad right now.
Wow, that's really evil. And I was about to talk about something else.
Yeah. Well, sorry about it. I mean, use our code on this because this is gonna lead to signups, and I want the credit. And then I get the bread, if you know what I mean. Because at DraftKings Sportsbook, official betting partner of the NFL, NFL fans, it's time to unwrap nonstop football action. This season, throw down on big matchups with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. This week, new customers can bet just $5 on the NFL and score $150 instantly in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now with code WORLD. New customers can bet $5 on NFL action to score $150 instantly in bonus bets. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code WORLD. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net with spelling the numbers again. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expired 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms and responsible gaming resources. You'll be glad you did. Bet Boston Scott.
$30 to win $126.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
I feel like it should be more than that. What is the odds?
It's plus 320. Did I say plus 350?
I can't remember.
I was wrong.
Anyways, the Eagles defense, 26 in points per game, 30th in EPA per play, 3-game losing streak. You're going to say, well, Bobby and Justin, they have the 28th passing defense in the NFL. Like, DeVito can get back on track. No, I don't think so. This pass rush is still nasty to me. Hassan Reddick has 11 sacks. He's 12th in the NFL in total sacks, hits, and pressure. Is he a one-man wrecking crew? Absolutely not. Josh Sweat is tied with 12th for 12th in the NFL with sacks, hits, and pressures, and has 7 sacks to his own. Well, is it just 2 guys? No, Brandon Graham actually has the highest pass rush run rate on the team, 12th in the NFL. Well, what about their defensive tackle? It's not that strong, is it? Well, Jalen Carter's 5th in defensive tackle pass rush run rate in the NFL. Oh, well, it's defensive tackles, right? Who's ahead of him? Aaron Donald, Dexter Lawrence, Chris Jones, Quinnen Williams. I don't know. Fletcher Cox is 7th in defensive tackle sacks. And a measly 17th in sacks, hits, and pressures. And you also have Jordan Davis, who's a good run defender. I don't care who they have at cornerback, because I don't know if Slade's going to play. Maddox might be back. Bradbury's been struggling a little bit. They're looking at this Giants offense to feast.
I just put $20 more on Boston Scott scoring another touchdown. Not 2. It's 2 bets. Yeah, man, I'm not very emotionally invested in this offense to end the season. No, that's a lie. I'm invested in, obviously invested in Andrew Thomas, but he's like fucking hurt. And I'm invested in Andrew Thomas against this pass rush. I'm very invested in John Michael Schmitz versus Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and those characters. I'm invested to see how Darren Waller ends the season. Wan'Dale Robinson. Come on, hey, let's.
Yeah, one day I want to see how he does because their linebackers aren't good, their safeties aren't good,
Right.
We don't know how they're going to be at corner with health-wise. I want to see Wandale play well.
Yes.
And maybe he doesn't get the ball because of this stuff, but I want to see him get open and stuff. I want to see him be able to uncover consistently. I know he had that big game versus the Packers, and we were expecting. Well, people wanted here comes another big game. It didn't happen, not necessarily because of him, just because of the way the Saints played and the way the Giants' offense played.
Like, there's any chance they got a running game going with no linebackers and no chance, right?
It's funny how their rushing stats look. They're 7th in total rushing, 17th in yards per carry, and then 28th in EPA per play. But with Matt Patricia, they're going to play a lot more man coverage, right? And that burned them in the Seahawks game. And I don't think he's going to change much, especially against the Giants. And that's all he did in Detroit. The linebackers are going to get more downhill and be looking like that's going to be an emphasis for them, is stopping the run. I don't see it. I talked a lot this week about the Giants' run game issues. The offensive line report was that, right? Where the offensive line report usually skews towards pass protection a little more. I just went through all Saquon Barkley's carries. We talked about it on the mailbag pod. And, I did a 30-minute thing on Bleacher Report, all about Saquon Barkley and the running game and all that stuff. I don't see this being the game. I think they're going to throw a lot of different run blitzes and different shit at the Giants, and they're going to have a hard time blocking it up front.
Can't help but agree. I don't know what else there is to say.
Yeah, I know it sucks, but that's where I kind of see this going. So this again, I'm not looking at this Eagles team as a team that's lost 3 games in a row. I'm looking at them as a 10-4 team that is still extremely talented and more even in the offseason when we may have had some delusions of maybe we can beat the Cowboys. I don't think that ever crossed our minds with the Eagles.
No.
We always mark that down as 2 losses.
When if anything, I think the Eagles are a more beatable team than the Cowboys, just because I think the way that the Cowboys are coached.
I think if you're a good team, they are. If you're a bad team, I feel like the Cowboys are more beatable.
Okay. I think the way that the Cowboys are coached specifically against the Giants matches up very bad. I mean, the way that Dan Quinn coaches that defense and has that defense going against the Giants is a really bad formula. Versus the Eagles. The Eagles seem to be a little bit more kind of line up and play ball and let their pass rushers just go after it. But their pass rushers going after it, they're all really good. So Hargrave was a big loss for them, but they also drafted Jalen Carter, who's already arguably their best defensive player.
Yeah, he's probably their best player on defense right now, which is cray-cray.
Imagine if they still had Hargrave.
Oh my God. No, I don't. I won't imagine that. I'm not going to do that. Actually, it might be nice because they'd take Jalen Carter off the field. And actually, no, then it would just take Fletcher Cox off the field. All right, Justin, why don't you talk to us about something before we bring Danny King on? And
sure.
I intimidate our listeners a little later in this podcast.
Oh my God. You want to put fear in their eyes. Well, you want to know what I want to put in front of your eyes? Manscaped, because it's so beautiful and it's so helpful and it's one of our best deals. The holidays are approaching, but what if I told you that celebrations are starting earlier this year? It turns out that the perfect gift does exist, and who else to bring it down your chimney than the leaders in below the waist grooming? Keep calm and let your balls jingle this season with Manscaped's new Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. Look nice when you're going naughty by going to manscaped.com and use code GIANTS for 20% off plus free shipping. Unwrap the gift of smoothness this season with Manscaped. And included in the special sack is the Lawnmower 5.0, the Weed Whacker, and 2.0 ear and nose hair trimmer, my favorite, Manscaped's liquid formulations, and 2 free gifts. Don't forget about that beard kit, too. Love that beard kit. One of my buddies who has a nice beard, he has the brush, and he says it feels just so good on his face. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code GIANTS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com. Use code GIANTS. Manscaped, get your jingle balls ready for the holidays. Bobby Skinner, you'll be glad you did. Talk to Danny King.
All right, we now welcome on to the show Danny King, Weatherman Dan. Dan, what's the weather going to be like on December 25th at 4:30 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania?
Justin, you're not.
I hope
going
it rains. Honestly,
you're not going to this game, right, anymore, Justin?
No.
I tried to bully Marash into letting us co-host the radio show with us, and he said no.
That's kind of funny.
I think we might do a spot that day, though.
Hey, that'd be kind of fun. But there's a chance of rain, but nothing like we see at MetLife on any given Sunday afternoon when the Giants play, or Jets play there for that matter. But it's going to be like 52 degrees, chance of rain, partly cloudy. So not the best weather. Not too cold for this time of year of a Christmas Day game at 4:30 in the afternoon. But there's not going to pour on those Eagles fans, which disappoints me a lot.
What'd you say?
I said it's not going to pour on those Eagles fans.
What's the weather going to be like?
Oh, 52 and partly cloudy. Chance of rain.
It's pretty nice for this time of year. Oh, chance of rain. I hope it
Chance
rains.
of rain.
I
Chance
do
of rain.
hope it rains.
Nothing crazy, though. Don't get your hopes up.
All right, what do we got for trivia this week?
All right, so I realized I probably hit the all-time leader in a single game type stat. So this week I decided just to go way back, September 30th, 2007. The Giants defeated the Eagles. Defeated the Eagles 16-3. Fantastic games. Would have loved to watch it. And on that day, a Giants defender had 11 total tackles, 10 of them solo. Can you name the player that led the Giants in tackles on September 30th, 2007 in their game against the Eagles?
Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce.
Justin, do you have an answer for me?
Could be Jabril Wilson. It could be Kavika Mitchell. I feel like Antonio Pierce is a really good guess.
The solo is what makes me think it's Pierce.
You know what? I love this guy. I'll tell you what. I am gonna say Jabril Wilson.
Justin, you would be correct. It is
That's right.
Jabril Wilson.
That's right.
11 solo tackles, 10 of them on the day. He led the Giants. He was with the Giants from 2004 to 2007, and then he went to the
Dolphins.
Then he went to the where'd he go?
Dolphins or the Raiders.
Raiders. He went Raiders after that. Then Dolphins.
Just like Antonio Pierce, technically.
And then the Bengals 2010 to 2011. And then after that, that's where Wikipedia did not have him anymore. So that's all I had on you. And I saw a year ago, he was on the Giants countdown to the draft post y'all were doing.
Yes, I'm a big Jabril Wilson guy. He was a free safety, but he always played like a strong safety. So I grew up liking him. There you go. I was right. I'm hot in trivia. People are rooting for my demise, by the way, in JM football, because they're starting to realize that I'm not very good at football trivia. So they're like really rooting for me to fail. It's like I loved watching Pennick fucking suck in this video.
I saw the graphic of the second all-time leading receiver. I got that right, but you know how I got it right? Because I thought Terrell Owens was second, and I saw Terrell Owens was a third, so like someone had to do it recently. Larry Fitzgerald.
Boom. You would love him.
Okay, so it's a preview pod this time of the year. So when we first started Supplemented Radio, we were just looking for interaction at the point, and one of our jokes was like, I think we might just be the anti Larry Fitzgerald podcast. Like we're gonna go against Larry Fitzgerald. And my co-host was like, that's a terrible idea. So we did it for a little bit. All right, fantasy this week. Danny will be picking first, but man, you kind of crap the bed. You had 12.3 points last week. You were 32.3 points behind the lead. Justin won last week. He'll be picking second, but he's 81 points behind. And then myself with a 31-point outing. Him in first. I'll be picking third. Danny, first pick this week. Who you got?
So I've been going back and forth on this one. I've been stuck between DeAndre Swift with the fact that Dexter Lawrence either may not play or be on a pitch count once again, or A.J. Brown, because I'm kind of sick of Saquon. He has failed me both weeks of fantasy because the Giants
They're going to run the ball a lot.
I know. See, that's what I'm going with. But I feel like the Eagles are going to want to get back this passing game on track, and the best way they could do that is probably throw the football to A.J. Brown. So I shall take A.J. Brown this week because I think the Eagles are going to want to try and get back on track.
That's the right pick. I was trying to bait you into picking DeAndre Swift.
It worked. It was not going to lie. As I was saying, I was like, I'd probably say it's a good pick. It might be. But I was sticking with my guns with A.J. Brown.
I was definitely throwing some smoke screens out there. Justin, who you got with the second pick?
I'll take DeAndre Swift.
Okay, cool. Awesome. God, I'm glad. They're going to run the ball a lot. But I did not want you to take who I'm going to take with this pick.
Taking Devontae?
Yeah, Devontae Smith. I'm taking Devontae Smith. I think he'll have a big game this week. So I'm taking Devontae Smith. So we got 3 Eagles off the board in the first round. And I generally don't know who to pick with this next pick, right? Because can the Giants muster up one drive to get down to the 1 yard line and pound it in with Saquon Barkley. Are they going to be able to use him as a receiving threat to get his catches up and make? Because I don't think he's going to have some big game, right? Giants' run game is horrible, but I can't take any receiving threat. Dallas Goedert, who I punched in the face in South Dakota,
funny story about him,
is not really producing a ton of points. So you know what I'm doing?
There's a pick here.
I'm going safe. And I'm going Boston Scott with my
Wow, that's not the pick I was thinking of.
No
Who are you thinking, Wandale? Because he's going to get a lot of catches?
Yeah, because that's who I'm taking next if I'm up.
All right, I'm going Boston Scott.
And I'm going Wandale Robinson. But let's start. The second round is where I also picked Boston Scott last year, and we all had a similar reaction. But all right, I'm kind of just reacting because it's like, whoa, all right, good for you for taking him. But I'm not saying it's a bad pick. I think it's a good pick.
No, don't get me wrong. I didn't know this is where it was going to happen.
I have $50 on my own money right now as to, $30. Bobby's.
I'm good for $20. I'm not going to skip
Bobby's good for
$20.
$20.
$30 right here.
Bobby's good for $20.
Justin's got Wandale. All right, Danny, you got back-to-back picks.
Saquon Barkley not taken yet.
I was crapping on
insane.
it. I was crapping on it a second ago, but I will take Saquon.
Okay.
I will take Saquon. I was like, having my jokes with it, but I was like, all right, now I gotta take Saquon, no matter what. Now I generally don't know what to do because I know I do know what to do, but the other guys just
imagine you just look at the players in this, and Danny got AJ Brown and Saquon.
What?
There's another Giants player that I'm stuck between, but he should be better this week, and he put up 8 points last week. Yeah, let's roll with Darren Waller. Why?
Oh yeah.
I'll take both of them.
They have bad linebackers. I just don't know if we're going to be able to get the ball to him.
That's I was stuck between him and Darius Slayton because obviously, as y'all have talked about, the Eagles secondary is kind of in shambles right now. James Bradbury lost the game last week for them, and then obviously no Darius Slay possibly again. So that was my fault with Darius Slayton. But I was like, let me just take Darren Waller. He's still sitting right there. I'd be silly not to.
Yeah, in theory, this can be a great Darren Waller game. But I just don't know if we're going to be able to block enough and get the ball to him. So that's why I thought about taking him fourth. But I just I don't have a lot of confidence in. I have more confidence that Boston Scott will get a touchdown than Waller will get more than be able to catch a couple passes. So, all right, Justin, your third pick.
Funny story about Dallas Goedert. He's off the board, correct?
No, he's available.
No, he's still there.
Funny story about Dallas Goedert.
What's that?
Punch in the face in South Dakota.
I will be taking him.
Sucker punched his ass.
You think Dallas Goedert knows that you say this? No way. Dude, it's got to be a chance, right?
Does you think he knows? Yeah, maybe I fucking knocked him so silly he forgot. But I think he.
That's what I'm wondering.
I think he remembers that it happened.
That's what I'm trying to remember. I wonder if he just has any memory of you punching.
If we would have went to Philly, I would have had a
sign.
Remember me sign. And I have back-to-back picks. I am going to go Darius Slayton, the Giants wide receiver 1.
Sure.
No matter how much people hate it. I technically don't like it, but it is their wide receiver 1. And then my last pick, I'm going to go a guy I liked in the draft as receiving back. One Kenneth Gainwell.
That's a good pick.
I mean, technically, he's their backup running back, and I already picked their third string running back, so I can hedge against that a little bit.
Yeah, I think I could see this being a little bit of a Kenny Gainwell game, getting the ball out of the backfield and receiving.
Huge game. I mean, he was their leading rusher in the playoff game.
Yeah.
Justin, your last pick.
Jalen Hyatt, score a touchdown.
That's one of the things I'm invested for this year. Do we get a Jalen Hyatt touchdown?
Jalen Hyatt.
All right, Danny, last pick. This to me is fascinating because they have a slot wide receiver who no one's picking, but he doesn't get any play. They got backup tight ends, but you can also look at Giants players who can get some garbage time points for the Giants.
Oh, Paris Campbell.
I don't think Paris Campbell's going to be active, though.
Oh, good point.
I think there's one who got a little bit of run last week that I think I would take. But
Sterling Shepard.
One that got a little bit of run last. Man, yeah, this just.
He got a bunch of check. I'm just going to say it because I don't really care if you pick him or not. Eric Gray, he got a bunch of checkdowns at the end of.
Oh,
that was a good shot. It was Eric Gray.
Eric Gray. Eric Gray in play.
3.6 points last week.
Gary Brightwell's being activated.
For some reason, Jalen Hurts, like as we all know last week, he took that deep shot to Quez Watkins, and I saw Eagles fans say, like, "Can we stop throwing deep to Quez Watkins?"
That
Is this
is
a
the safe bet, Watkins.
is this a Quez Watkins deep reception game? I think it could be. That's who was catching my attention. I'll take it, Quez.
I mean that's the pick that makes the most sense.
I'm also just desperately trying to reclaw my way back into this after the desperate mistake.
Yeah, I just don't think that this can be. If Devontae Smith got hurt, this could be the game, or Devontae Smith somehow got shut out. I just don't know if this is a game. I think you can get. I think you can close the.
I'm trying to.
You
close,
got AJ Brown, Saquon, and Waller.
I'm trying
you
to close
could
ground.
realistically close the gap if the Giants show up like halfway decent on offense. To recap, myself and First have Devontae Smith, Boston Scott, Darius Slayton, and Kenneth Gainwell. Justin has DeAndre Swift, Wandale Robinson, Dallas Carter, and Jalen Hyatt. Danny, you have AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley, Darren Waller, and Quez Watkins. You are 32 points out of the league. All right, Giant factors. Danny, you get first shot this week.
I mean, like, I hate to say like Giant factor because like honestly, it's not like he's some no name guy, but Adore's obviously not been the best this year.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw last week he got beat up a lot in that Saints game. I just want to. When I watch Adore, I know he's a good player. I don't know what's not clicking with him this year, and I know this is not going to be the easiest get right game for Adore Jackson. But whoever they put you on, whether it's Devontae Smith or AJ Brown, go out there and just attempt to lock them down. Make Jalen Hurts have one less option to throw to with an already pretty good offense with the likes of Dallas Goedert, whether he guards AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. I wanted to see Adore Jackson play well, have belief he could be on this team next year, be a halfway decent corner next to Deontay Banks. So Adore Jackson, go out there, be a Giants factor because you're better than the way you've been playing. You've sucked so far this year. I'm not enjoying watching you, and you should not have been that bad against the Saints last week. So Adore, turn it around, be a Giant factor.
Justin, who is your week 15? No, this is week 16 Giant factor.
Yeah, please do not bring us back another week. Danny, Randy Bullock was put on IR. Who's our kicker?
It's going to be Cade York.
No, son of a bitch. Are you going to do this, Justin?
No, I genuinely was wondering because I honestly thought Danny was going to go that direction.
No. I was not. I'll let Polly have it, but no, I was not going to go that way.
Kayvon Thibodeau is my Giant factor. Kayvon had a good, really solid game against Green Bay 2 weeks ago. Didn't put up a half sack, but I thought he was really, really good against the run, and I thought it was one of his best all-around games in a game where I think Jordan Love is getting rid of the ball kind of quick too. Last week against the Saints, Derek Carr's getting rid of the ball pretty quick too. Against a divisional rival, against those offensive linemen that are really good, Mailata, Lane Johnson, guys that are going to be there for a long time. I want to see something out of Kayvon. It's kind of short, sweet, and simple. Kayvon Thibodeau, go out there, be a Giant factor.
I'm going Cade York.
Yeah.
I got really worried there for a second. Because I was going up and down the roster being like, who's my Giant factor? I picked this guy 2 weeks ago. Don't want to reuse him. I was like, you know what? Something like, hey, maybe Cade York at one point was a highly picked kicker. And remember the Cleveland Browns tweeted, that's why you pick a kicker, because he kicked a game winner in his first game and then became the worst kicker in the NFL after that. But there's got to be some talent in there. Cade York, harness that talent and become a good kicker for the Giants, and we'll see what happens in this offseason. You're going to be here at least for that. So Cade York, you be a Giant factor.
I can't believe you went with that.
I never thought I would see Bobby freak out about a kicker more than he just did.
I can't believe.
If Justin would have ruined me if Justin picked Cade York. I was like, no way. The one time I do something like different like this, you pick the same guy. All right, spread picks. You know what? Who are spread picks brought to us by Danny before I start breathing down these people's necks?
Yeah, before you start breathing down people's necks, I want to talk to you guys real quick about SeatGeek because today's episode is sponsored by SeatGeek. If you don't know what SeatGeek is, what are you doing? They're a ticketed app that makes buying tickets super simple. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. As you see right here, it's on my phone because SeatGeek is the best ticketed app out there. There are more than 70,000 events every single day on SeatGeek, including sports, concerts, festivals, and more. They always want to make sure you are getting the good deal. So when you are on the app, like I just showed you, look for the green dots. Green means good. Red means bad. Every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And SeatGeek is the only site that lets you return your tickets ahead of the event with swaps. Just me personally, I've used a SeatGeek to go see St. John's at the Garden when they play Providence because I love St. John's basketball. It's kind of fun to watch. So we got the hookup for you. Use code GIES for 20% off your first purchase at SeatGeek. That's $20 off your first purchase with promo code GIES. Click the link in the description to download the app today. Guys, you'll be very glad you did.
I'm using them for the Pop-Tarts Bowl, so how about that?
I forgot about the Pop-Tart Bowl. I'm also using them for the Giants-Rams game.
Hey, you know who's going to be invested in that?
Who?
Timmy Horn, the new Giants defensive tackle who was at Kansas State last year. So,
call out.
Do we have any NC State guys on the team?
No, Daniel Bellinger, San Diego State. We did have BJ Hill, but he left. Was BJ Hill?
You know, last year that the Giants were the only team that had was represented by both teams in the national championship game because Daniel Bellinger, San Diego State, and Matt Parrott, UConn.
Oh wow, I didn't.
I remember tweeting that fun fact out from the account. Something I'll do every single year for March Madness to see. Do we have any NC State guys? Right? No, none of the running backs, none of the receivers.
Like currently on the roster?
Yeah, I don't think there is.
Yeah, no. We did have all-time leading Giants sack rookie BJ Hill, but
all right. Well, I guess that settles it. I'm going to be rooting for Kansas State and my boy Timmy Horn.
Shout out Timmy.
Horny for Horn. All right. Spread picks. The listeners, they're in first place. That's cool and all. They went 2-5 last week. They're 61-54. That's a very good record. Justin, he went 5-2 last week. Best record of the week. He's 51-64, still in last. Danny, you went 4-3. Good week. 57-58. You're one game below 500. You're clawing back. Good for you, Danny.
We're trying. Thank you.
I have clawed back 5-2. I said I'm slow and steady. I got to get back to over 500. I don't want to get cocky because this is far from over. I'm back over 500. Right? I've never went under 500 in spread picks. I got to finish this season strong. 58-57. So not only am I like my goal of being over 500 is it now attained and attainable if I finish. If I beat the listeners or Danny, this is realistic for you too. This is literally the greatest. Like to me, it's got to be like the greatest choke job of all time. Right?
Oh yeah.
God.
Oh yeah. You cannot start off as hot as they did and then falter right now. This is
even worse than 28-3.
Exactly. Who's picking this week? They got a lot of pressure on them.
Chris Peace is picking this week.
Chris Peace, please forgive us what we're about to do to you.
Yeah, Chris, great guy, but
I'm looking for something.
Broken bed with Chris. Broken bed? Excuse me.
What?
Broken bread. with Chris Peace many a time. There's no coming back from that. There's no coming back from that. Did you find whatever you're looking for, Bobby?
Yeah. Save us, Bobby.
Broken bed.
He's
gone.
He's still deep in fog.
He's gone.
Is he frozen? I can't tell if he's frozen or if he's here.
No, he's here.
Because he has held that. Oh, there we go.
There we go. Now I'm happy. Just saying, listeners, we're coming for you. All right, Thursday Night Football. We got Saints at Rams -4. The listeners, represented by Chris Peace, are going Rams -4. I am agreeing with the listeners on this one. I got Rams -4. I'm not letting the Giants game fool me on the Saints. Aaron Donald's going to wreak havoc on that group. Saints suck. Derek Carr sucks. I'm going Rams. Justin, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm also going to go Rams too. They've been quietly one of the league's best teams over the last month or so.
Daniel.
You all said the reads that I would be picking the Rams for, so I am taking the Rams.
All right, we got Bengals at Steelers +2. If Mitchell Trubisky is playing this game, I think I might pick the Steelers. I cannot pick a team that's led by Mason Rudolph. Like, the fact that he's still around to me is wild. Like, think about how far we've come from Myles Garrett bashing his head in with a helmet. I'm going Bengals -2, even though I want to go Steelers +2. Danny, what do you got?
Yeah, I'll go with Bengals as well. Jake Brown is just obviously a very good backup. Mason Rudolph sucks. He's not better than Mitchell Trubisky, but Mike Tomlin had to make a change. Are the Steelers going to go under 500 this year?
I think their offense can't score points. And they are not like together as one as a team either. Like there's
Pickens,
drama there.
He doesn't want to block on the goal line. He doesn't want to get hurt. I don't want to get hurt either, but like that's a bad look for you, George. But yeah, I'm taking the Bengals.
The listeners agree. Is it a clean sweep, Justin?
Yeah, I eventually think somebody is going to figure out Jake Browning, but when you have an offense that's as bad as the Steelers, I mean, I trust that Zach Taylor's going to put up enough points on the board to win this game.
Yeah, the Steelers did play Browning good. Like they beat Browning a few weeks ago, but they're just not going to be able to put up any. They only put up 16 in that game. I don't think they're going to be able to put up 10 in this. Lions at Vikings +3. Who do you got, Justin?
This is tough. If it shouldn't be Lions.
Danny?
Yeah, Lions. Man, the Lions, I don't know. I mean, they had a good game last week, but the Vikings just suck. They have no good quarterback right now. So Lions.
Nick Mullins, he's good. Ty Chandler, our guy, he had a really good game last week. Listeners are going Lions. I'm going Lions too. Like this is Detroit Lions. If you are a good team, you should win this game by more than 3 points. Man, I hyped up spread picks, and we've all went the exact same picks for our first 3 picks. But that's not going to happen here because Browns at Texans +2.5. I'm taking my Browns. I'm a Browns fan this year. I'm rooting for them. I want to see that defense drag them through the playoffs. I'm going Browns -2.5. The listeners are going Texans +2.5. What about you, Justin?
I'm going to go Browns. I don't know the exact status of CJ Stroud. He had concussion. He should be back. But even with them, man, they haven't been as magical as they were earlier. And I think the Browns, they find ways to win. They're going to be next year. The talking point of the Browns is, oh, look at their record in one possession games, that boring, bullshit talking point. But the Browns seem to got it this year. They win those close games. So give me the Browns.
Yeah, just stop turning the ball over. Like, the Browns are like the ultimate, hey, just don't turn over the ball. Like, Tommy DeVito, he's the team that would fit the Browns the most. Because, like, just don't turn over the ball over. And they lead the league in turnovers with that defense. Danny, who do you got?
Looking at the Texas injury report, CJ Stroud still has not practiced with the concussion. Nico Collins coming back, looks like. Larry Thompson. Nico Collins might have played last week for all I know, but
he didn't.
He didn't? Yeah, okay. So I wasn't tripping about that. I'm taking the Texans. I'm going to go different. They still got a capable quarterback in Case Keenum. I know they almost lost to the Titans last week, but still, I think Joe Flacco, he's on cloud 9 right now. He's going to crash down eventually or come back to earth a little bit, and I think this is the week that Joe Flacco will come back to earth.
Colts at Falcons -1. I hate the Falcons. I truly do. I hate them so much. I'm going Colts +1. Even though they are starting Heineke this week, I just feel like it's too much of a mess over there. And I think Arthur Smith realized it maybe at the end. So I'm going Colts +1. Listeners are going Falcons -1. Justin, who are you going?
This line's fishy. It feels like it should be Colts -1. I mean, this basically is a pick'em game, so I guess it's not the weirdest thing in the world. Because it's kooky, do I go Falcons?
I kind of had the same thought.
Yeah, this line's a little kooky. I am going. The next line's kind of kooky too. Falcons -1. That's the gut.
Danny,
I'm going the Colts because the Falcons are 4-10 against the spread this year. They are a very bad team to cover.
Jags. I feel like I picked them a lot too. I think I've gotten a few of those wins. Colts at Bucks -1. Trevor Lawrence didn't practice.
Jags at Bucks. You said Colts at Bucks. Jags at Bucks.
Oh, Jags at Bucks -1. Trevor Lawrence didn't practice today. What do you got on this one, Danny?
Yeah, I'm taking what's the name? The Bucks. That's who they're playing. Correct? Am I tripping?
Yep.
Bucks. Yes, because no Trevor Lawrence. Do not like CJ Beathard, even though I just learned CJ Beathard was on the injury report for some reason. But yeah, I'll be taking Trevor Lawrence. Nope, I'm taking the Bucks, not Trevor Lawrence.
I'm taking the Bucks too.
Wow.
Justin, what about you?
I mean, I was going to take the Bucks, but now everybody's too confident.
The listeners are going Jags +1.
Ooh.
Now, I honestly think the Bucks could beat the Jags even with Trevor Lawrence in there. Give me the Bucks.
If I knew Trevor Lawrence was playing, I would pick
the
Jags.
Yeah.
Cowboys at Dolphins -1.5. Justin, what do you got?
Cowboys.
I agree. The Dolphins haven't beaten the fraud charges quite yet.
No.
So I'm going Cowboys. Listeners are going Dolphins, though. Danny, how about you?
Dolphins haven't beat the fraud charge, but the Cowboys they can't win on the road. They've only won one road game this year, and that's against the Panthers. Like, they can't win away from home. So the Cowboys don't have a home game in the playoffs. I don't know what they could do. But I'm taking the
That's
Dolphins.
not true. They beat us both times, Danny.
Oh, yeah, that is true. Bam, look at that. I'm keeping you all on your toes. But Giants don't count because we suck as well. I'm taking the Dolphins this week.
Alrighty, and then last game we got... I'm so mad that we have to play 4:30, so I can't just give this game my undivided attention.
I know.
Ravens at 49ers -5. Now, where I feel a little better is I think the 49ers can blow out the Ravens, so I'm going 49ers -5 to battle the two number 1 seeds. Justin.
I want the Ravens to I want the Ravens to cover. I'm rooting for good football.
So I don't really trust the Ravens offense. So are you picking the Ravens? Yeah.
I am picking the Ravens. I'm very vocal on JM football right now about these wide receivers got to step up for Baltimore. It's like Mark Andrews is out. Isaiah Likely is doing all right. Charlie Kohler's not a tight end you're throwing the ball to. Patrick Ricard's a fullback and a weapon. You're not throwing the ball to him. These wide receivers got to step up. They need to produce more for Lamar.
Don't they have an $18 million receiver on their team?
He's got to step up. I mean, they don't. Zay Flowers is first on the team in receptions. Mark Andrews, who's missed like the last month, is still second on the team in receptions.
They probably should have gotten DeAndre Hopkins. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know what you mean.
Guy had one catch for 14 yards last week. All right, listeners are going 49ers. Danny, who do you got?
Niners as well. Unstoppable force. That's what the Niners are.
I am excited to see what Mike McDonald does against Brock Purdy. Like, if Brock Purdy has a really good game versus Mike McDonald, like, the people who hate on him got to shut up a little bit. All right, it's time for score predictions. Danny King, what is your score prediction for New York Giants and Philadelphia Eagles on a Monday?
Eagles get right game. We're going to get smacked. Eagles are going to win 40. Giants are going to score 13 points.
Justin.
Yeah, I think we could put up a respectable 16, but the Eagles will put up a more respectable 27.
I say I only do it once a year. I'm going Giants 2, Eagles 0.
Wow.
There it is.
Just kidding. Giants 77, Eagles 0, boys and girls. You thought. Well, here's one thing you don't got to think. We will be back Tuesday for a recap of Giants at Eagles on a Monday. We'll see you then. Until then, let's go Big Blue.